Night of the Living podcast is always ad-free for patrons at patreon.com/NOTLP.
It's the biggest drinking night of the year, I think, right? Tonight, Thanksgiving Eve.
Oh, yes.
Does
Not
water
in
count?
this
Because that's what I'm drinking.
Yeah.
Guzzling.
wholesome.
Yeah.
I'm also drinking water.
Party on, guys.
I
Chug that water. It's good for you. Hydrate.
It's New Year's Eve and Thanksgiving Eve, I think, are the two
That makes
big
sense.
ones.
Why thanks? Well,
You
because
know.
you have to hang out with your family.
Everybody's home.
Yeah.
People are partying tonight. They're in, like a very exclusive party, maybe even one hosted by Captain Howdy
Oh, wow.
from
D.
ALL Instant Messenger.
As long as you're a irresponsible teenager, and
Right.
you're invited to that party.
This week's pick for main attraction is from our good friend Violet, who chose a movie I haven't thought of since I worked at Blockbuster Video. Maybe how many years ago has that been now?
Oh, my God.
25 years, maybe?
Was it only... You worked into the 2000s, didn't you?
I don't remember. That's why
So
I
when
looked
did
at
you
you.
think
20
about
plus years.
When did you think about it? In the beginning of your Blockbuster career or near the end?
We're going to narrow this down.
The movie was 98, I think? 99?
No, 98. You're right.
98? So this would have been near the end of my Blockbuster career.
Yeah.
And I remember it was one of those tapes that we had a copy of.
Just one?
Yep. But it was always out, and people were always, there was always a group of people either looking for it or talking about it.
Strangeland.
It had a following, and it's this...
Is it because of D. Snyder, you think?
I think
Yeah.
part of it was D. Snyder, and the other part was that, what do they call it? The fake here, the movement, the body modification,
Yeah.
like tribalism, or...
The 90s were very goth. So I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Not that we don't have the goth still.
Right.
We do.
I think this is even more so
They're just
leaning
different.
like the tribal tattoo, heavy gauged earring, nose ring club.
It's
the
all
target audience.
intertwined. It's all it's Venn diagram. It meets.
That's true.
It's a full circle.
You know.
If this is your first visit to the show, I'm Freddy. That's Amy.
Hi there.
And there's Andy.
I'm Andy.
And we talk about horror movies and fantasy movies and sci-fi. And our theme this month is rock and shock films that feature musicians. We did Vamp with Grace Jones, Trick or Treat with Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons, and several other musicians from Fastway. And then we did
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea
with LL Cool J.
Yep. And we're looking at D. Snyder this week.
Mm-hmm.
He not only is he the villain in the movie Strangeland, he also wrote the film.
Did he direct it too?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. I knew he was heavily involved, but
It's funny that he hired a director who had only done something called like Jurassic Women for made for TV sci-fi thing.
Jurassic Women.
I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Are they from cave women or just really big women?
Well, I can tell you actually. I think I still have IMDb up here.
Jurassic Women. It sounds like something MST3K would cover.
Yeah, John Peplow.
Thought it was Michael Peplow. I guess I'm wrong.
John Peplow. I don't know.
I could have sworn it was Michael.
That's what it says here. I mean,
Are there two
I
people?
just like to, you know what? I just like to argue.
So 2 years before Strangeland came out, he directed a movie called Jurassic Women, and here's a brief synopsis from IMDb. A meteor shower causes a spaceship crash on a remote planet populated by beautiful and dangerous women as well as cavemen.
Yeah. This
All-
is an MST3K.
All procreation has been forbidden as there is a war between man and woman. But when a woman and an astronaut fall in love...
Aww.
Is this where Futurama got their idea for the Snoo Planet?
Oh, I wonder. Wouldn't that be funny? That would be really something. It's a trauma movie, too.
Oh, fantastic.
So,
I wanna watch it.
So Strangeland. We'll get into that as our main attraction.
Yeah.
Patreon.
Patreon.com/NOTLP. If you want to support us that way, you get some extra content over there. You get some merch. Topicana's over there. We got an Origins that'll be coming up here soon. Origins is when we go back into our vault because we've been doing this show for 18 years.
Yeah.
And not all of our old shows are on the internet anymore, so we're putting them on our Patreon with new introductions. So if you're interested in what the origins of this show were like. I will be telling you about our first episode we ever did on Lord of Illusions.
That's funny. I feel like, did we recently?
Yeah, we did that this year, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
used it for Magic Month.
For Magic Month.
Abracadabra. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if our opinions have changed at all.
I don't remember what my opinion is now. I think I hated it. But I definitely hated it 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Probably even more because it had time to stew and
Andy
mature.
was trying to love it,
Yeah.
but Freddy and I hated it.
Oh, I hated it then?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Because I feel more favorably towards it now than I did
Andy
then.
tried to find the
Something,
good.
yeah.
Really?
in it.
It's grown on me a lot.
Yeah.
I wonder what I thought about it this year because I forgot already.
What was
Me too.
Were we doing a theme when we did it last time, 18 years ago? Was it?
Yeah, magic.
And it was magic.
Oh, we did.
Yes.
So we did the theme. Well, the magic is a good recurring
Magic's,
theme.
yeah, you can go back to that a
Things
bunch of
I'm
times.
always willing to go back to witchery,
It's evergreen.
magic, or even Rock and Shock. There's still plenty
We
of
could do a
movies
whole
we
year
didn't
on
do.
Rock and Shock.
Yeah, there's so
That's
many
true.
rock stars entangled in horror films and stuff.
Oh, God. It's just a reminder that we were forgetting on everything.
We
Yeah.
never got to House of Wax with Paris Hilton. She's a DJ, you know.
She had a song out, The Stars Are Blind.
Yes.
Really?
And it wasn't half
Yeah.
bad.
Got a great chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, recording a song, does that really qualify as being like a rock star?
Good enough.
Good enough?
Good
Because in
enough.
that case, we could do a Steven Seagal movie because he recorded an album.
Oh, no.
Remember, and there's that like really
Oh,
one song about it's
I don't
like
support
Rastafarian type
Steven Seagal.
music, and he's talking about
In any
what
way.
to sex somebody, what's to sex them.
Like,
Let's
No.
just not do movies by gross people
Yeah, that sounds
that we
right.
know are gross. I mean, because
50% of every movie is made of gross people. So
if he needed to blow his nose and wanted to needed a tissue and I had one, I would
Yeah.
not give it to him.
oh my God, you're like Phil Collins in that song.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. In the air tonight. If I saw you
Oh,
with
I was thinking-
sniffling.
Oh,
I was thinking Susudio.
I would not
No. 'Cause
blend a tissue.
it's a studio because it's the sound of like sniffling.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, that happened.
So after we have something with the main attraction again, Strangeland, and then we'll talk about some other fun stuff that we experienced this week. Anything else that you guys want to talk about at the top?
Experiences are fun.
Mm-hmm.
You can go ahead and hit the button if you want.
What? Oh, that sounds so dirty when you
Hit
say
that
it
button,
like
baby.
Turn out lights, it's the main attraction.
All right, Violet. Thanks for sending Strangeland our way, a movie that I haven't thought about in a really, really long time.
I had never seen it. Had you seen it,
Yeah,
Andy?
I've heard about it.
Yeah, of course. I
Yeah.
knew it existed, but I had never watched it. So I'm glad
I didn't
got
even know what it was
pushed
about.
to watch it.
I just knew D. Snyder put out a horror movie,
Right.
but I had no idea that he was going to force his fetish on us.
Let's get it out of the way. It
Yeah.
wasn't a great movie.
No, it's a
It's a
mess.
hot-
No,
it's a real mess of a
It's
movie.
a mess, but it had memorable moments.
And it has an identity.
Yes.
And it's very much an identity that belongs in the 90s, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Being afraid of the internet chat rooms and they were going to come for your daughter. Although, honestly,
It was happening.
it still is.
Yeah.
We've just moved on from AOL Instant Messenger to
Yeah.
Instagram and social media.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what didn't they have like a private BBS in the movie? I think they had like their own
I
thing
don't
too.
remember.
But regardless, the roots of this movie go back to '84 when D. Snyder, who is the lead singer of Twisted Sister, We're Not Gonna Take It. They made an album called Stay Hungry, and it had this really long, like 7+ minute song on it called Horritaria. And it's more like a
Is
Nightmare
it
on Elm Street
somewhere
than it is
near the dancery?
near the dancery. Horritaria is about a character like Captain Howdy, but it doesn't have all the piercing tribalism stuff in the. I keep wanting to. It's not like the neo-primitive movement, I think is what they call that.
don't know.
But anyways, the song tells the story of a wrongfully accused or misunderstood killer or some.
How can you be a
I
misunderstood
know
killer?
It's kind of one of those things where
That doesn't apply to this movie
He's
at
still
all because
sweet.
he's not misunderstood or wrongfully accused.
well he's mentally ill.
he did that shit.
Yeah, but he's fine when he's on his meds. But that's kind of the idea is that
Okay.
it's like a Freddy Krueger type where the town in the song, again, I'm talking about Horatoria, the
Oh, they-
town takes revenge on him.
Pitchforks and such.
Yeah, and that's like the whole story. And that's kind of what D. Snyder turned into the screenplay for this movie.
Okay.
Was the basic idea. Now he was not himself. D. Snyder was not one of those like the neo-primitive piercing
Right.
body modification people. Like the nose piercing was real and the rest was makeup. But like
So he just
the
wanted
character was.
he just wanted to find a way to show off his body.
That's probably part of it too.
He's like, guess what? I'm jacked. I
Yeah.
got a great
Yeah.
body. I need to show it off.
And is that what you thought when you saw
A
him?
little bit.
You were like, damn, D. Snyder.
Either
you're in
that,
shape.
like, yeah, I thought that, but either
did not
that
skip
that
leg
he wanted
day.
to show off his body, or that he has a fetish that he wants to
To share.
Mm-hmm.
involve us in.
Yeah.
I wanna be a part
It
of
feels
that.
a lot like an Alice Cooper kind of move, both the song and the movie to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, he's got like a swimmer's body in this, right? Where you're kind of like not what you expect from
Yeah.
D. Snyder.
Yeah, I don't mean I always imagined him as older.
Right.
He was probably like what, in his 40s, 50s at this point.
I'm not sure.
I can find out for you whilst you guys talk.
It was very interesting to see him normaled out when the character is normal.
When he got out of
He was
the
40.
prison, and he looks old.
He was 40
In the face. He just
43,
does.
I
he
guess.
looks like he's lived some life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But,
But,
when it was so
that wig.
the wig was bad, but it makes you realize what a striking looking person
Yeah.
D. Snyder really is. There's no other face like that out there.
He's a meaty face.
He's got a meaty face.
Got a long face.
I
He's
would
got,
say
why the long face?
Marilyn Manson kind of resembled him too, I feel.
we don't talk about him
And I know,
we
but
threw him in the trash heap.
it's interesting that this also he's on the soundtrack to this movie,
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson.
So was Snot.
And Snot, yeah.
I love that there's a band called Snot.
So the story, right, is Captain Howdy posing as just another teenager lures young women to his torture attic.
Not even young women, like girls. It's,
Yeah,
it's
and
kind of
boys too, right? Wasn't there?
Well,
He had a
like
boy too.
they were high schoolers, which is
Yeah.
still very
Yeah.
kind of gross.
Very young.
Yeah, and his whole bent is that he's opening their minds and not really hurting them. But
He
like,
thinks that he's like Pinhead. He thinks
Yeah.
that through pain comes, I don't know what, revelation, enlightenment. So he's justifying his serial killer ways.
Did
by
he kill
luring-
them though?
You're
no,
right.
he wasn't a
didn't
killer
kill.
at
Yeah,
this point.
he was just a
didn't kill.
torturer
He was just a
he-
torturer.
did they-
and kidnapper.
and we believe he accidentally killed one of them, right?
Because
She
she
had a
had a
heart
heart
problem.
defect.
Right.
And I guess the trauma and shock of what she would put through kind of triggered her birth defect.
Yeah.
And then they put her in like the trunk of a car
Yeah.
and dumped her in a lake, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of the
she's the one
Turning
that
point.
her and her friend get
Linda
kidnapped,
Cardellini,
which is
which is,
Linda Cardellini.
A nice, like a surprise to see.
I know.
her
she
first
was
movie.
so
Oh, is it?
young.
she was 23, I think.
Oh,
She looks so young.
Yeah, playing, I don't know,
Genesis.
was she 15
Yeah, that's
year old
what
she-
character?
Yeah, playing.
Yeah, they're all high schoolers.
And she spends almost the entire movie with her mouth sewn shut in a standing cage, like a medieval torture device kind of standing cage thing. Which just the thought of standing for that long in a little space like that is also not to mention all the other shit he was doing.
Do you know what just flashed into my brain? Danny DeVito in that playground
Yeah.
scene from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, where he got stuck in the what was the little
spiral
spiral?
thing?
Yeah.
Sorry, Linda.
Trapped in it.
We don't want to
In his
put you
underwear.
to Danny DeVito.
It's really not the same, but it's sort
Similar
of
kind of
similar.
torture.
Okay.
So it just so happens that Linda Cardellini's dad's a cop, right?
Yeah.
And wasn't the other? There was a second cop somehow.
There were 2 cops. One cop.
directly
his
connected.
partner.
Was he just his partner?
Yeah.
Yes, that was it.
Okay, because it almost felt at times like he had like a personal stake in it too.
He did because they had been working on the case already of missing people. Then his daughter gets abducted.
Okay.
So it's part of him and his partner have already been part of the case already.
Okay, so that it's almost like a Thomas. That happens like in the later part of it, like a good Thomas Harris book.
This was
was just
cop
right away.
threw Freddy for a loop. You were even
We didn't need
asking
him.
questions.
Yeah.
Well, that is Woody Harrelson's brother. Did you know that?
Oh,
Now you do.
I didn't know he had a brother.
He does, and his father was a hitman.
Yeah, that's a wild story.
It's a
look,
wild
Look
story.
that up.
Yeah, it's on Wikipedia if you want to get the broad strokes. But what was I going to say?
You were saying that I was saying we didn't need that second cop.
It really you throughout the movie were like, wait,
Why is he
Who
here
is this
again?
guy
Why,
again?
why do we need him here? Like, why is he
it's
serving
really
the story?
bothering him.
I mean,
It was one little thing I could fix. This movie has so many problems, but one little thing
Right.
I could fix is just erase this extra character
I mean,
and erase Amy Smart's
he
character.
barely-
it's just
rated.
It's just another cop. I don't think it was that big a deal.
It was a stumbling block for the story. It was confusing as an audience member to watch
Freddy's
this
brain
guy.
couldn't
I'm like,
digest.
when I watch this movie, every character on screen should have a function to the story somehow, serve it. You don't need him.
He's assisting his partner.
All right, whatever. It's a job for that guy, I guess. Whatever.
For me, I'm
got
just surprised
health insurance
it was
'cause
such
you
a
made that
nitpick for
movie.
you.
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was just like I could make a laundry list of things to fix, and that was like to me. And again, it shows the inexperience of Dee Snider as a screenwriter and this director that they didn't realize that if this went through a modern rewrite process, they would have refined this down to its most
Every cop has a partner.
potent bits.
I know. I don't know why it really bothers me.
Who was Agent Starling's partner?
Well, she was a trainee. She didn't deserve a partner yet.
Captain Howdy.
Was she a
is it-
trainee yet by the end of Silence of the Lambs? Was she still a trainee?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
she was in the academy.
Yeah, but I thought
And that was
I
like her
thought-
first case.
Yeah, but she had graduated.
I think she was still in the academy at that point because
no.
I remember
Pretty
they
sure
were
she graduated.
because they were watching the news and they were in the dorm and the news broke.
Don't fight.
About the missing girl?
Yeah,
Well, that was one of them, right? Or was it the senator's daughter still?
the senator's daughter.
Okay, I'm
Or
going to
what-
rewatch. I need a rewatch of
I
a
just
refresh
remember
of
her
Silence of the
friend
Lambs.
running down the hallway.
There was somebody listening to this screaming the answers.
Somebody knows from their gut
Yeah.
whether or not Starling had graduated before being assigned a case.
'Cause at the very
That's absurd,
end-
Andy, that she would
Because
still
at
be.
the very end of the movie, they have that ceremony, and they takes a picture with her badge, and then he calls her I'm having dinner with our friend, and she's like, doctor.
yeah.
Doctor.
What does that have, but what does that have to do with her graduating?
Because she was still a trainee at that point, and then she graduated.
I don't remember it the same way you do.
I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess.
But I think my point was
No,
that
you started him on it.
Agent Starling is a potent enough character that you don't need to drag her down with some dud tracking her every move and being like, "Can I get us coffee or sandwiches, boss?" or whatever, just patting him on the shoulder. I'm
Well,
sorry, your
okay.
daughter's missing.
Counterpoint, he needed a partner because he was a very ineffectual cop.
Yeah, he was a bad cop.
He knew her computer was what she was on that night.
Yes,
she
and
got
he-
abducted, and he ignored it.
He literally
Yeah.
unplugged the computer. No, seriously, that he
I
did.
forgot about that.
He was like, nah.
Yeah, so useless.
Until way later in the movie.
It never occurred to him at all.
and
Amy
he
Smart had to tell him,
needed
right?
Amy Smart to
Yeah.
literally walk him through
She's smart.
how to do the chat room.
And she's just his niece, right?
Yeah.
And her character, Amy Smart, and at this time still was nothing.
Every time you say Amy Smart, I think you're saying I'm smart.
Amy Smart.
Thank you.
Amy Good Gorilla.
Thank you.
No, but I'm like, you feel when you see her, you're like, oh, okay, here comes a character who's really gonna fill the role that the partner should be filling.
yeah.
For the story. Bring in a whole new character just for this one moment, and then she's gone.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying about that thing? It's like a rickety ship. It's got rickets.
It needs the vitamin C or vitamin.
But that's part of the personality of it. Is it's kind of like something. It's an amateur thing, which kind of it makes it kind of unpredictable and exciting in a way.
They named the town Helverton.
Helverton, yeah,
Helverton.
yeah.
So you can see.
I
what we're
feel
dealing
like
with here.
and then you get like a 4-year
That's
jump
a
in the
little
story
silly.
once they have
They get him.
done the initial
Yeah.
rescue.
But before we get to that, somebody says, I'm going to kick your mega biting ass.
Yeah,
And I just wanted that quote to be out there so you guys
I
heard
don't know
it.
what that means.
it was one of the cops, right?
What does megabiting mean?
Megabyte, like a computer
Oh, I
megabyte.
thought
Yeah.
it mean like a big bite. or
That's what they
something.
said.
I'm gonna kick your mega biting
And they did
ass.
kick his mega biting ass. And he gets arrested, but.
He's not guilty by reason of insanity,
Mhm.
and he gets the treatment he needs.
I mean, I'm not a lawyer or involved in the legal system, but it just seems that he shouldn't have got off.
4 years later, they deem him cured, and he's going to leave. I'm sorry, that would never happen.
Considering the gravity of his crimes, where he kidnapped multiple teenagers,
Yeah,
and mutilated them.
There's
Yeah.
no way after 4 years. Remember that
kidnapping and
guy?
torture and probably human trafficking
And I think it's implied that he sexually assaulted them too.
Yeah.
oh
yeah.
I don't know
It's
why that didn't
100%
land
implied.
for me that he was doing that too.
The guy who cut that guy's head off on the bus in Canada, do you remember
Yeah,
the story?
he's free.
Yeah, but it wasn't 4 years. And that's
No.
Canada where they're
Yeah.
just like, whatever. I'm just kidding. They're not like that up there.
He wasn't locked up for very long though.
But longer than 4
but
years.
I feel like
Yeah.
from what I understand, the Canadian justice system is more lax.
It is.
than the American one.
that guy was at least,
But they do have mandatory
years
sentences
or
that we don't have,
I don't know.
even though they
I
don't have
live
the
in
death
Canada.
penalty.
I
They
don't
have-
know what the mandatory
have-
sentences for kidnapping and torture is. So.
In Canada, I think the mandatory sentence for any, even second degree murder, I think is life.
We're on the verge of war with Canada.
Are we?
Trade war.
Trade war.
Oh yeah.
But we are on the verge of war.
Maple syrup is going to be so expensive, y'all.
Oh my God.
I'll stick with Mrs. Butterworth.
Happy birthday, Sue.
Happy birthday, Sue. I'm sorry
Sue's in
about the
Canada.
tariffs.
Yeah.
So at what is the first time he was caught? Is that when the cop threw the pee at him?
Oh yeah. It was her. It was Linda Cardellini's
Yeah.
pee-pee.
Yeah.
I think they sold that on the internet for a lot of
God, it's
money.
been like 3 days since I saw this movie. Since
I think
then.
it was the first time he abducted his daughter, and the cop rescued her.
And threw the piss in his face.
He very nicely actually put a catheter in Linda Cardellini so she can go to the bathroom.
At least there's that.
Yes, so she didn't have to stand
I can
and
think
the
of
floor.
no worse thing.
stand in her own urine. So the cop finds where Captain Howdy's hideout is, and he foolishly just goes in, doesn't call back up.
Doesn't call her back up. Or
At any time does he call back up?
anything could have happened.
I mean, I get it. It's his daughter. He sees her
I don't.
chained up, and he wants to release her right away.
It's so stupid.
But
Where's his partner during all this?
Getting coffee.
getting coffee, I guess.
Yeah. Again, useless. Totally
Regard-
useless character.
So
Getting coffee, babe.
it was a fun moment where they're fighting. Captain Howdy and the cop are fighting, and then the cop gets knocked over right by the pee, and he throws the little the pan at him.
pan.
And this would feel like the end of the movie, except you get the jump, the time jump, and then you get Captain Howdy released to his normal life, and now he's very much like
He's buttoned up. He covers all of his tattoos with makeup.
no piercings.
He looks weird because he gets to wear all that makeup, so he looks corpse-like.
Oh, like I said, the bad wig didn't help either.
The wig was
yeah,
bad.
it looked like a wig from
It's
a corpse.
funny because it was obviously a wig, but he chose a long-haired wig that he put in a ponytail.
I know.
Yeah,
it's
he looked
strange.
like he owned a bookstore, didn't he? Well, they were going for
Wait a
super meek.
Yeah.
So they put him in sweaters, and they look the long face, and his face is lengthened by that ponytail, and he just looks mopey and like Eeyore.
Yeah.
And he returns to society, but they ain't having it. Robert Englund is introduced.
Robert Englund ain't having it.
Yeah.
He gets to go back to the same house that he kidnapped and tortured people.
It's
in.
his house. He owned it.
But it was trashed.
But
by
Yeah,
at the
people
same
they did
time,
destroy it.
I guess maybe he can't leave the town because of parole. But
Yeah.
still,
This happened in Psycho too. In Psycho 2.
Psycho 2.
Yeah.
like a chew.
And it happened again in Psycho 3 and Psycho 4.
Too.
He went home. He goes back. So I mean, there's precedent here in the horror genre for a crazy killer to return home.
Robert Englund is
Michael Myers
hamming
did
it
it.
up big time in this movie
Yeah,
as the town
vigilante.
vigilante guy.
And he's working with the the conservative Christian lady. Kind of like I think this is kind of a stand-in for Tipper Gore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Dee Snider is taking out his anger out on her.
Oh,
Google
he
that.
does.
Just Google the video. You'll see the video. There's two great, there's more than two, but there's two that stand out to me of the committee on like obscenity or whatever it was that they did when we were kids. And one was Dee Snider appearing before Congress, and the other was Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
If you find those videos on YouTube, it's really wild to watch. It kind of will stir you. If you are an anti-censorship kind of person, it's pretty stirring stuff.
Robert Englund, there's this scene where he's about to get lucky with his lady friend.
And he's in his little panties.
He's in his little panties, and he is sitting spread eagle practically for a long period of time.
I feel like a nut was going to pop out any second.
I was so... You're just watching it because you can't not.
And he's doing this weird dance.
Crotch.
Yeah. Well, he did something similar. Was it Eaten Alive, where he played Buck, who likes to fuck?
Yeah, this is the second movie we've seen Robert Englund in little panties.
Yeah.
Little tighty whities.
So what is that meme? It's like, if I had a nickel for every time something happened, I'll have 2 nickels.
You have shit ton of
But
nickels.
it's weird that it happened twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's just weird that we've seen Robert Englund in panties twice.
I think it's just he's going so against the Freddy Krueger type that, in Freddy Krueger, every inch of his body is covered in something.
And also,
So
like
he's
both of those
I'm just gonna be in
characters-
panties.
both
Frederick's
of
a
those
Hollywood.
characters are pretty sleazy and gross,
Yeah.
so it fits.
Yeah.
The costuming.
And
Why
it's
is
fun that he's playing the vigilante character, which is, the flip of, he was burned alive as Freddy Krueger, and now they're about to do the same thing. They go out and they track down a reformed Captain Howdy. I can't remember what his real name was.
Can't either.
And they have a lynching, and they hang him in the rain. And they're like, I think that's good enough. And they all leave. Of course, it's real rainy, and they chose a really half broken limb to hang him from, and hang him high from there on out.
He's alive still,
Yeah.
and he is out for revenge.
They drove over his pills that keep him from being crazy.
And that's all it takes is
when
like
they
an
grabbed
hour.
him.
I think
yeah.
it was because, my mind, like the choking and the like almost like BDSM way he was killed kind of awoken something in him.
That's what he wanted.
liked
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's what he even said he wanted that experience in the beginning, way before they ever hung him. And now you're right. Like, I think the combination of him losing his pills and then also getting the affirmation of, I got almost there with this hanging is like, it's a pretty creepy way to fling him back into the action. And he's like, and I thought for sure in that scene with all the rain, there would be a dramatic reveal of the tattoos underneath
like
the makeup.
the makeup
Yeah,
was
they
like
didn't do
washed
that.
away.
That's another moment where I'm just like, why the fuck not?
Well, maybe he just
Was it
had
too
really,
hard?
really good makeup on,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't wash away.
Oh, yeah. Could be.
He airbrushed that shit
Yeah.
on.
So this guy's he's just tired. He's tired.
There's this
kidnaps the same person.
Well, no, before that, or I don't know when he it's the underwear scene. He has come for his revenge on Robert Englund
Yeah.
and his lady friend. He slits her throat, but Robert Englund doesn't know that yet. And the woman comes into the room with like the blood all over her, but she's in the shadows, so he can't really tell. And she's doing this complicated,
like she's a puppet or something.
like she's a puppet
It's
dance.
very Wicked at Bernie's.
Yeah.
As if she's trying to ask for help but can't speak.
But it's way too choreographed.
But the choreography, man,
it would have been different if like she kind of, you know what I mean? It was one of those.
so silly.
The intention is
Is
great.
that camp?
Yeah.
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 No,
The
I
intention is very straight.
I thought that it was going to be revealed that he skinned her and put a skin suit on because
That would have been great too.
just because the movements were just so herky jerky.
Yeah.
That someone probably had that thought and put it in another movie when they saw this, because that's a great thought.
Nice thought you got
Nice
there.
thought, because it is too much. It's too much. Like if my throat slit, I might stumble into a room a little. You might think I'm fooling around, but she does a full 2-minute
It goes on really
Jazz
long, and he
dance,
thinks
like
she's
new age
dancing and
dance.
being sexy for
Yeah.
him, and he's all good and excited with his little crotch out.
hot tamale train.
You could see
You
the
know?
outline.
That's a so you think you can dance reference.
Oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about that
Way
in so
back.
long.
Yeah.
Holy moly!
So now he's a legit slasher now.
Now he's
He's
out. for it.
graduated.
He comes back for Linda Cardellini.
Yeah,
and others too.
Yeah.
And the typical lady, he kidnaps her too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And puts her in this contraption where he just
Oh, he stabs her titties so many times
Yeah.
with these like rods.
I found the way it handled nudity interesting in this movie. It was not like exploitative, right? It wasn't there to like
Other than Robert Englund, you're right.
except for Robert Englund. But like Linda Cardellini is like completely nude through the majority of the movie, and it's not really like focused on. It's just like this horrible part of what's happening.
Yeah, and I feel like the body double's moving in such a way that you can tell that they're trying not to show anything.
Yeah, for a first-time director, that's like
Yeah.
great restraint. And then this woman being tortured, and it's never like presented in a gross way.
What was
Even though the
name
movie
of
is gross.
What was the name of the piercing he was talking about?
Ampelang.
Ampelang.
I knew
Oh.
a guy
that the
who had an
penis one?
Ampelang.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
penis one.
Yeah, through the head.
and
Yeesh.
you briefly talked about Robert Englund's nudity too. That Captain Howdy kidnaps him too and takes him back to his torture chamber. And Robert Englund's butt naked, but we don't see it. He has a leg tastefully positioned to
Yes.
cover up his bits.
Just like he was posing for an art class.
Yeah, but Robert Englund has his mouth and eyelids shown shut this time, and Captain Howdy just puts a bunch of hooks in him.
Yeah.
Think about that as the actor, as Robert Englund, to have your eyes covered and your mouth covered for any period of time would be,
And you're naked.
and you're naked would be so. I'd be both claustrophobic, incredibly vulnerable. That would be really uncomfortable to do. I applaud him for doing it.
Have you ever heard the story about where they left Jamie Foxx on the Ray set where he was playing Ray Charles, and he had a cowl, an actual makeup applied a cowl over his eyes, so he was blind when they made that movie, and whenever you see him, he's blind.
Yeah.
For real. And they just called lunch and nobody came to get him. Like he couldn't leave the set on his own because he was blind, and everybody left. Whoops, I hit my mic.
Did they think he was just in character and didn't or something?
They just forgot that he needed a handler.
Oh,
And they
did get
left him.
lunch.
They left him at a piano or
He was
something.
hungry.
Yeah, he just abandoned poor Jamie Foxx. Poor billionaire Jamie Foxx.
But I
But,
thought
yeah.
He's a billionaire.
the makeup where like the eyes and the mouth are sewn shut was really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
this,
the sewing was a little loose.
But still, I thought it was
A tighter stitch.
the point came across, and it
did.
was pretty horrific.
Yeah.
The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the newest season just premiered, and there's a scene in the latest episode of Kathy Hilton being like her glam, doing her hair and her makeup and everything, but she's got this thing on her lips that I think is plumping them in some way, but it sort of looked like, without the threads of being sewn, but it looked like what they covered Robert Englund's mouth with.
Really? We were just watching
creepy.
Chimp Crazy, that documentary series on Max, and the lady was she had all this white. It just looked like somebody just took a bunch of like sour cream and smeared it all over her lips. Apparently, I guess it was something to numb her for
Am I
her
supposed to be
lip
doing something
injections.
to my lips? My God.
I don't know.
These women.
Oh, they were I don't like what they did to her lips. I didn't like the process. Look,
But she
unpleasant.
did, and if that makes her happy, then
I mean, if it makes her happy, if having a dangerous chimp in her home makes her happy,
But also,
that I don't agree
didn't
with.
she abuse a lot of chimps? So kind of she deserves it, maybe.
yeah,
by having the chimps and not putting them in
it was
their
a
natural habitat
a
makes
lot
you
of
an
errors
abusive.
of ignorance in that story.
Anyway, neither here nor there.
It sounds like I hated Strangeland, but I didn't.
No, I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Like I said, there were. It has a lot of memorable moments.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I see his vision.
Yes.
It's just the execution of it because there are a lot of moments like, come on.
He's been wanting to make a sequel forever, and
thought
it keeps getting close to
It's
being
like,
greenlit.
I just feel another big problem I had, just you can't like pick at it because it would just fall apart. But the transition from him as the button up guy to Captain Howdy again, he did a lot really quick.
Too fast.
Yeah, he did.
He kidnapped a lot of people really
They
fast.
made sure you saw that car run over
yeah.
those pills. They
Yeah.
were like saying, if
This
he
is
doesn't take
it.
one of these every 30 minutes.
Every 30 minutes.
But I'm just curious at how he could kidnap and torture 3 people so quickly.
He still had
just
his
good at
old
it.
his old skill set still applied 4 years later.
When you're good at something, you're
Yeah, I
good at it.
guess.
You know, you're born to do it.
Because he kidnaps little Carlene again, and her torture is a little amped up even more this time.
It's like he blames her for everything.
Because Robert Englund had a lot of hooks in him, but Linda Carlene had hundreds.
Yeah.
And she's like strung up, kind of like the Vitruvian
You
Man.
have to plus it.
Yeah.
You know? It's the second
Yeah,
time.
you don't want to just like repeat.
Kidnap me once, shame on me.
Kidnap me twice, shame on you.
I don't know.
They burn him up in a church.
Point
at
is,
the
don't
end.
kidnap me.
But that's kind of what he wanted, maybe.
I would think that he would.
He wanted to get to experience death without dying, I guess, get as close as he could.
Well,
And he got it once. And he tried to get it again, but
Yeah.
did they kill him in the end?
yeah, they
Okay.
burnt him
He got
up.
burned up.
Yeah, I did.
They lit him on fire.
Yeah, that's right. But I feel like they was it like definitely it was one of those deals where they're like he's definitely dead.
Well, I feel it would be very hard to survive what he went through.
If they
Right.
wanted Jason Voorhees it, sure.
Yeah, because like Jason Voorhees, he's like kind of supernatural for some reason.
Yeah.
But I did not. Captain Howard's just a dude.
Just a dude who forgot to take his medicine.
If you think about it, Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers are just the same thing.
What just
I don't know
misunderstood?
why. That was just a little tangent in my head. Not misunderstood. They're definitely understood. But they're the same thing. They're the same force animates them.
Oh yeah, you mean just this idea of an
They may-
unstoppable?
I wonder if they exist in
killing
the same
machine.
world, same universe, cinematic universe.
No, not yet.
Ooh, but they could.
Well, who owns what is
I don't
always the
know.
key to that thing. Remember the
Tangent,
road to
sorry.
Freddy versus Jason and all
That
the
was a
licensing crap they had to go through.
Long road.
Yep.
Yeah.
But did anybody else get nostalgia watching this movie? Like
For the
with
90s?
the chat rooms and stuff.
Oh my God. Yes.
That's what the movie's good for, I think,
Yeah.
is being a snapshot of not only like what we were doing with computers, but what kind of movies we were like, yeah, this is what a straight to video. Well, I don't know. He may have got a theatrical release for this,
I don't know.
but I remember it being straight to video. And this is very consistent with the sort of things like fear.com, et cetera, that we were getting.
I feel this was super edgy for the time.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The character, especially. This was, this trend, remember like Jim Rhodes Circus was kind of, they would do similar stuff with body modification.
Yeah, I feel like this was like the beginning of like the extreme horror going mainstream.
Then we had another whole like time in the 2000s or 2010s where there was the body modification thing, I think, hit another peak.
But there was the people who wanted to cut their arms off too.
Don't do that. You need them.
I don't know if that was an urban legend or true, but
If you
I
have them,
remember
keep
those
them.
stories.
But were you guys ever like on the verge of being abducted and kidnapped from your activities on message
Online?
boards? Yeah.
No, but then I wasn't out trolling for D. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That was all a joke. No, I never got
Yeah, like,
myself in.
If somebody like sent me like a private message, I would always ignore it.
I think I was
Yeah.
too old.
like I would still like go on the message board and just chat with like random people.
Yeah.
But it never got to the point where it's like, what are you up to? You know, what's going on?
mean, I guess I was-
ASL.
Yeah.
I guess I was prime age. I thought I maybe would be too old at 14, 15 when I first got, AOL and everything. But no, that's prime age. I don't know. I guess I was just too anxious to even be in chat rooms. Let
I
alone
watched so many horror
communicate.
movies that I was already paranoid going into the internet that everyone wanted to kill me. So,
They do.
have you? Amy and I have seen, but I don't know if have you ever seen Megan is Missing?
Yeah.
That
I
is-
hate that movie.
Yeah, me
Fuck
too.
that. It's horrific.
It's this movie on crack,
Yeah.
or this movie, but so real.
I mean, I hate the movie because it was just so
horrific.
effective in what it was trying to say.
Yeah.
Especially the ending.
Chilling.
So that's why I hate it, because it was just can't
I
get
know.
I
I
like
know.
whenever like somebody mentions that movie, you go back to like when you first saw it. It's
That's
like,
called
"Ew."
PTSD.
Yeah. It
that you
did. It
have
gave me
from
the
it.
closest thing that a movie could give me to PTSD.
There you go.
Was that? Do you
That
guys?
and Martyrs.
Oh yeah, Martyrs were so good though. Anything else that you guys want to talk about Strangeland before we move on?
No,
think I'm
thanks,
done.
thanks, Violet, for the
Yeah,
pick.
thank you.
Yeah, it was very thoughtful.
But also, how do we feel D. Snyder as an actor?
Okay, not terrible.
Yeah, he was a lot better as Captain Howdy, but when he was made to act, when he's the meek guy,
Yeah.
That was
that's-
rough.
That was kind of a little amateurish.
Well, so much of what he's doing is quoting like this famous fakir, and he's literally just reciting this guy's writings as dialogue. It's a lot of monologuing. So that's a lot to carry.
Yeah, but I
for a
feel like
first-time actor.
when he's Captain Howdy, he's in character, like kind of like the Twisted Sister vibe.
Yeah.
So I think
Definitely.
he's a lot better doing that than downplaying his personality.
Yeah. Definitely.
There's definitely fun here to be had, but overall, messy movie.
Yeah. So the algorithm led us a few places. I already mentioned Chimp Crazy. But Amy watched a movie that I'm surprised
I
you'd
went
never seen.
To Tubi, because I like to troll Tubi for some trash. And guess what? It recommended Street Trash to me. And I was like, Freddy, what is this movie?
And it was one of those moments where I'm like, this is a movie that was made for Amy that I didn't know she had never seen.
I've never seen it either. I have it on my list actually of movies to watch.
It's like John Waters and Trauma mashed together.
It's like such a trauma movie, but it is not a trauma movie. It is such John Waters movie, is not John Waters. John Waters is
See, it's right there.
an influence for sure. Yeah, it is on your list. I can confirm.
I wanna
saw it.
I want to see the remake. It's supposed to be pretty fun.
What an absolutely disgusting movie. Like, it's gross. It's so gross.
Like,
and it's
makes-
real rapey.
So does it makes you feel gross? Because there are gross movies I would like, hey, that's gross. And there are movies like
It's gross.
Megan is Missing that makes me
This
feel
is
gross.
Cronenberg gross.
This is like more like
This is
Pink
society gross.
Flamingos or Toxic Avenger.
Okay.
Like if you like
Fun gross?
yeah, what
Yes.
was What's the Dangerous Living? Is that the John Waters movie where they all live in the junkyard?
It's one of those. They kind of run together for me, honestly.
Yeah, if you like, this is very much if you like John Waters' level of disgusting, it's very much that, but with more goop.
What was this, the 80s?
Yeah,
Late 80s?
early, I think. Well, I'll find out.
Is
Might
the
have been later.
goopiest, Andy. Oh my God, it was so goopy. And then it was so
Is it
rapey.
Is it
87.
well made at least?
No, it was
Or like
made
trauma
for, it's
levels
trauma
of-
levels. But I would say that they did a really good job with the effects, I would say.
Cinematography is surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Like when you watch it, and I didn't remember it this way because this movie I watched with my old buddy Doug. We would watch this movie and Nail Gun Massacre all the time, and I remembered them both being like zero production value. But there's some art to Street Trash that I had forgotten about.
Yeah.
Great camera movements, dolly shots that they created with
Yes.
what they had on hand. The set of the junkyard with the main character lives in this kind of makeshift home he's made in the junkyard out of a beat up vehicle and a bunch of old tires, and there's shots of light coming out of it at night. It's really a cool movie.
Yeah, it's just the only problem I have with it is how much sexual assault takes place in it. It's like, can we just not every 5 minutes have to deal with this? Let's just go back to the goopy. The goopy is where it shines.
Yeah, the sexual assault is a major plot point with the mobster's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And they go, it's like she's dragged out by several like
There are a couple
grimy
female characters that get
monstrous.
Anyway.
Yeah, and then
So it feels
But
like
it's goopy.
there's
So-
necrophilia in
It's
it.
like I feel like sexual assault can be done in a not I guess tasteful manner.
This is theatrical.
And
Yeah.
but I guess this is a really gross
And
way
plentiful.
way they did it.
Well, everybody in this movie is gross. Everybody's dirty except for like the two ladies, basically.
They
Everybody's
punish one character
filthy.
by giving him a shower.
Yeah.
If that gives you an idea, like
Street trash.
Yeah.
And I know there's a remake. I haven't seen that. When was it remade?
this year,
just
wasn't it?
it's
Yeah.
brand new.
Anybody we know in it? Or is it
I don't know about the cast,
another
but
low budget?
remember I said it had like a post-apocalyptic vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like they took Street Trash, the movie you watched, and then they put in a little bit of like a sheen of sci-fi on it.
Oh, okay.
So it's literally like a post-apocalyptic future, whereas
I'll have to
this
check it
is
out.
just a shitty like this is like pre-Giuliani nightmare New York City.
Right.
But that's what makes it so great.
Well, it's on Tubi.
It
You
is
wanna watch
super
it.
disturbing and gross, but it's not
Having to watch it with
it's super-
commercials is
yeah.
jarring.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it that way, but yeah. Tubi.
Or not to be.
So why is it jarring with commercials?
Just because of
The material.
No. And then all of a sudden you're watching a Tide ad.
Cascade.
Okay.
You're like, what?
Ads for soap are particularly shocking during this movie.
Although I'm
Yeah.
glad that we can avoid the political ads on Tubi and stuff like that.
Thank
now.
That's
God.
nice.
Thank God.
No more of she's for they them.
Yeah, it's like it's a relief to not see anti-trans ads.
Yeah.
anymore.
They have to
All
see
of
it
a
multiple
sudden-
times a day, every day.
It's not that important to them anymore, is it? Street trash.
There was also an infomercial for Club Med we watched, which was pretty great on Riff Tracks.
Yeah, we have the Friend subscription, and they just added Copper Mountain.
Copper Mountain. Copper Mountain is a resort, I guess, in Colorado.
It's
that's
a Club Med resort. This
So
was
Club
full on
Med is-
a commercial for Club Med.
Is Club Med kind of like those all-inclusive resorts?
Yeah.
Because I just remember hearing about it in the 80s a lot as like a punchline.
I wonder if they still exist.
Yeah, I guess it was like Sandals or something,
Yeah.
but for ski resorts and stuff.
It starred Jim Carrey and Alan Thicke.
As themselves?
No, there is buddies.
This is before. I would say this is before Mad TV.
Yeah.
So, or not Mad TV. I'm sorry, In Living Color. Why did I say Mad TV?
Because they're both on Fox.
Oh
It was
my
before
Lord.
In Living Color, and
Living
it might
Color
have
is
even
way
been
better
before
than TV.
Growing Pains, even maybe, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. It was
What
something.
do I look like? The Growing
Club
Pains?
Med is still around.
So
historian.
did it make Club Med look desirable and fun?
No, this movie's real bad. It was written by, I don't know, a collection of parrots that could sort of speak. It was the dumbest.
Well, they try
It
to
was
make it
Jim
as-
Carrey just doing
yeah,
bits.
ski comedy. They kind of try to make it like, you know, those. You remember in the 80s, you had the vacation comedies where guys are going to get laid. It's that they're trying to get laid most of the time.
Trying to get Jim
And
Carrey late.
but this is an ad for Club Med, right?
Yep.
That too.
And there's
So-
a ski race and a bunch of musical numbers.
And a lot of fat jokes about one character who's slightly chubby.
Yeah.
Well, like body image in the 80s. Like if you were a normal sized person,
Yeah.
then you were deemed as fat.
Yeah, this guy was Yogi. His name was Yogi, and he had a ridiculous last name
I can't remember what it
that we were
was.
cracking up
It
about.
doesn't matter.
Anyways, it's really funny.
Like
You
at
should
one
watch it.
point, Jim Carrey just wanders across a stage, gets on the stage. There's a band there because
They're tuning up, and he
They're
just
tuning up.
he decides to do
They're
a
doing a
Sammy
sound check.
Davis impersonation.
he just starts doing a Sammy Davis impersonation and just sings a whole ass song.
I mean, is that one of the selling points of Club Med, that there's live entertainment at
Yeah.
these resorts?
Apparently, I
They
learned all
had-
this. I've seen it twice now.
They had several performances live at the resort, and they would play them in full.
Rita Coolidge,
Rita Coolidge, Ronnie Hawkins.
Ronnie Hawkins.
Do you know?
Any of these ringing a bell?
I vaguely remember the names, but I don't think I can name anything.
It's better if you don't know who they are and you watch it, I think, because there's a lot of jokes about him not being Charlie Daniels.
And then you get stuck in Lodi again.
Oh my God, they perform Lodi by Creedence Clearwater Revival 3 times in this movie. Why would you do that?
Lodi again, and then again. Anyway, Copper Mountain. Don't recommend it unless you have riff tracks, and then I absolutely recommend
If
it.
you had an opportunity to go Copper Mountain, would you go?
Sure, why not? If it was free,
I would go.
I don't know how to ski or anything, but I can hang out in a lodge.
They had a hot tub.
See some random stand-up guy go up on stage.
I would love that.
It's like, I was promised some random improv.
You give me a hot toddy, I'll watch anything. I'll hang out for anything.
Were there a lot of girls in bikinis skiing? 'Cause
No, it wasn't quite that
Okay.
ridiculous.
But there was the hot tub scene where Jim Carrey was trying to flirt, and it was the most awful, horrible attempt at talking to women I've ever
I
seen.
mean, was he doing this Jim Carrey stuff?
Yeah. He's
He was just doing
impersonating
bits.
Steve Martin in that scene. A very good Steve Martin impersonation, but at the same time, you want to crawl right out of your skeleton.
watching
What's
this,
out.
you wonder how he got a career. Because you watch this and you go, oh my God.
I don't know, but you can kind of see there's some raw talent there too.
I guess.
I've watched it twice because Amy fell asleep the first time.
And I wanted to finish it.
So I think I'm really qualified to critique Jim Carrey's performance as just in the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It should be in a cartoon.
There you go. All right, Andy. What you been watching?
Oh, I went to see Gladiator 2.
How was it?
I liked it a lot.
Were you a fan of the first one?
I don't remember, but I remember being entertained.
Yeah. Are
I've
you
never
not
seen
entertained?
I've never
But you
seen
know
that.
what? It is just so old fashioned and so simple.
The new one is?
Yeah. It's just like a missed spectacle,
Yeah.
which is the whole point of a Gladiator and everything. It's just it's a good looking movie.
Ooh, speaking of good looking, how's my boy Pedro Pascal?
It's very I mean, like you know,
Homoerotic.
like you know, the Roman stuff is very homoerotic anyway.
I'll
Baked
watch
in.
that tape.
So it's pretty homoerotic.
Spartacus.
But if you're looking for it, and I was looking for it, and it's very
Him and what's the other guy?
Paul Mescal.
There you go.
Mescal.
Mescal.
They're the main
Yeah.
characters.
And everybody's just hamming it up. I love
Yeah.
it. It's so weird because like Denzel Washington's in this, and he's like the main villain. He's like a villain, but he's just doing the Denzel Washington voice that he can't. That's his voice. You can't avoid it.
Yeah.
But everybody else is doing like old fashioned, like Shakespearean acting.
Yeah.
Because you know like those like Roman sword and sandal epics. They're always
Yeah.
everybody has like those British accents and stuff like that.
Yeah, because they hire a lot of English
Yeah.
actors for that crap.
And also, like,
I don't mean to
everybody
call
needs
it
to be on
crap.
the same page of how to can't have like all these different accents. So like everybody needs to have the same one. But Denzel Washington's just doing his contemporary.
That's the way
Denzel
I would
Washington
want
is-
it that way.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching the first Gladiator and I didn't like it. And I'm like one of the few people, I tell people that they're always shocked.
And you
but
call yourself a man.
I got to watch it again. I love Ridley Scott movies too.
But this movie just doesn't take itself too seriously because there's a lot of moments like really,
For
like,
real though?
but in a good way. It's like
Yeah.
whoa, they're doing that. It is just so silly.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a knowing silly. It's not campy because I think he knows what he's doing. It's almost Verhoeven-esque,
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
where they know that it's silly. and
Tongue in
they're-
cheek.
Yeah.
I think that's what I missed in the first one. I wasn't getting the humor of the big speeches and stuff they were giving, and the fact that they were fighting lions is supposed to be maybe a little funny,
but this is just
or a little absurd.
this is plussed.
Yeah.
They go even further with the absurd animal fights.
Oh my lord.
There's less like hand-to-hand combat, so they just lean into like the craziness more.
Yeah.
Is there a dragon?
I don't want to spoil it.
Oh my lord. There's a
but
dragon.
there's not a dragon.
Oh, okay.
What was it I was gonna say? God, the thought just escaped my mind.
Did he?
Damn
do,
it. Oh,
yeah.
I was gonna say this is just the way they tie into the first one is kind of like so silly and soap opera-y,
Yeah.
but it works in a way because
Okay.
I'm not. It's obviously it's a not a realistic portrayal of the Gladiator in that time period. So why not lead into this all this political and backroom dealing stuff?
Did you watch
It
Napoleon?
intrigued.
That.
The Ridley
No,
Scott
I
Napoleon?
have no desire to see like that. So.
People were telling me they thought it was really, really funny, and I didn't really understand
unintentionally
why.
though.
They described it the way you just described this.
But have you seen it?
Nope.
Oh.
No, I'm just saying. I was asking because
Okay.
I wanted to know if Andy thought it was the same sense of
Yeah.
humor and absurdism. It's supposed to be really absurd and over the top, and characters are supposed to be really like overblown and not very realistic.
Yeah, but I recommend it for. But I can see why people. It's not getting great reviews. As people are like saying it's good, but it's not like. Getting great reviews either. But I can see why people are criticizing it. But for me, it really worked.
Yeah.
Are you gonna see Wicked?
No, I have no desire to.
I don't either.
It's just because
I don't care.
I've listened to like the musical, the soundtrack from the Broadway show, and I don't like a lot of modern musicals. They're lean into too poppy music, like pop, like top 40 almost, like pop music.
Yeah, but don't you want to go?
That is very
that
arousing.
from?
The Ed note of
Wicked.
defying gravity.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
I don't
also,
know any of
I
these
heard people
references.
doing it. It's cracking
Wicked
me
is
up.
kind of like the prototypical theater kid
Yeah.
show. So that kind of turns me off on it too.
Do you feel like maybe at home, you'd be like, at home I can watch it and I don't have to deal with people going,
No, I'm not talking about the people. Like maybe the fandom a little bit is turning me
Yeah.
off, but like it's just very. I prefer like old fashioned like musicals.
like The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, and
Or like
Broadway
Flower
shows,
Drum
yeah.
Song.
like Gypsy and
South
stuff
Pacific.
like that. Like old fashioned stuff like Brigadoon stuff like like this is
Brigadoon. I read about.
and it's also 2 hours and 40 minutes long. That's
Yeah.
a gut-
Ooh. I
that's
looked
a
that up
long-ass
today.
movie.
Wow.
and
And
I
that's
got
part
mad.
one.
Oh, there's going to be 2 of them?
Yeah. So I read about a third of the book at one time, the Wicked book, and did not care for it.
I
wonder
always
if I should
forget
go
that it was a
back.
book.
I heard the book and the Broadway musical and the book apparently like are totally different.
Yeah. That they're going to incorporate more book stuff. But I didn't care for the book. I didn't care for the writing. Sorry. But yeah, Wicked. Everybody's trying to make it this a Barbenheimer kind of thing.
With, what's the other movie?
Gladiator. 2.
Oh,
Because-
they're both out now.
Glicked.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like these two
Glicked?
opposite spectrums of like
Yeah.
movies, and like they're appealing to
A
different
girl
demographics
movie and a boy
Yeah,
movie.
I see
you
now.
see?
I see.
Yeah, it just seems very forced and like, hey, let's try to catch lightning bottle again.
We could really use some money. That's what I hear. Anyway. Oh, so we've finished a theme month.
Yeah.
November is about to be over. So it's time to pick a new theme.
Oh, okay.
Andy,
We're out of
get
the-
in that
Out of the
hat.
hat of themes.
Hat of themes.
Andy put fresh themes in there right before we started recording.
Let's
So
see
there's a
what we
lot
got
to
It's
pick
true,
here.
he
from.
did.
I got one.
He's got it.
Oh, I got two. Oh, this is extra paper.
Oh.
Oh, it's funny because I chose the Wes Craven one.
Wes Craven, Constant Craven.
It's
We
so
were
weird.
just
We
talking
were just
about
saying,
this.
we said, well, would you just want to do that? And then Andy had to explain it to me. But you don't need to know that. It's brilliant. You don't
Well-
need to know that I was confused.
Yeah. Okay. The original idea was the movie Craven the Hunter is coming out. And I was like,
Is it a horror movie?
No, it's like an action movie.
Okay.
It's like a comic book movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's tie it in with Wes Craven. We'll call it Wes Craven the Hunter. But my alternate title was Constant Craven.
That's perfect.
I love it. We're doing Wes Craven
Yeah.
movies.
Because like
Craven.
I know we've done like Friday, like Nightmare on Elm Street and the Scream movies, but he has other like horror.
We've done
movies
Music of the
and his
Heart.
movies in his filmography.
That's right.
Is it the one that you watched for
Oh,
31 for 31, the TV movie?
Yeah, the TV movie. It's
With Susan Lucci in
Susan
it.
Lucci and Robert Urich.
Should we start with that?
Yeah, we could do that.
All right, we're starting with Invitation to Hell,
Yeah.
right? Because I was so intrigued
Yeah.
by this movie. I remember this. Okay, that's what
Yeah,
we're going
it's
to
a
start
TV
with.
movie that he did in the 80s.
I love it.
So we'll start with Invitation to Hell.
I'm so in.
You know what we've never done, I don't believe, is
You're going to love it.
I feel like it's right up my alley. So, what'd you say, babe?
I don't think we've ever done Deadly Friends, so I think we should throw that in for
Oh, we
consideration.
should.
That the Chrissy Swanson one?
Yeah,
Yeah, fuck her, but still,
Yes.
we should.
it's a fun one.
She can have my nickel or whatever for the streaming. Bitch.
Yeah, fuck her.
Fuck you, bitch. At the end of every show, we always say hi to our Beelzebubs. Patreon.com/NOTLP if you want to become one. Matt, Branan and Emily, Jeffel, Iona Goodwin,
I own a great one.
Dr. Brian,
Keep it in the garage.
Old Dirty Bill Sturd, Bill Fahrner, Blayne, Yogurt. I put the emphasis on a different syllable. Jordache Jeans, you know what, Joe? We were just talking about you 12 years ago on the Origins I'm about to talk about. That's the newest one that's going to come out. We were talking about you. So that's how long you've been in our lives.
Joe will be popping up here too.
Got
In
some
the near
bonus
future.
content coming to
More to-
Patreon.
more to come.
A secret project that Freddy and I are working on.
Dun, 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 dun.
Monica, Jeremy, Cassie, and Gamora, Ernie, Dave, and Paul. Thank you so much for all of your support. You are amazing.
Everybody have a probably too late to, but happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for you.
If you're listening on Thanksgiving Day, it will get better.